Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to discuss a bait that I take with me now every time I go out spring fishing for bass. This bait has it's this guy right here, big swim baits. It's banging on everything. So this bait I've caught. I mean, I started fishing with it in the spring. A few years ago or so, 3, 4, or 5 years ago. And I never used to fish, larger baits until like really a couple, 2 to 3 years ago. But I fished them before, and I knew they were pretty effective. But in the spring, I'd always use my typical search baits, and then do some worms and stuff like that, some jigs. But you can catch fish on those all year long. So I started getting bored with it and started playing around with other lures. Well, the dangerous swim bait, the 7-inch. Is one of them that I started messing around with. And 2-3 years ago, I was trying to locate some fish, and I was having a really tough day, and I was just bouncing around a couple different places. I'm covering water, throwing a bunch of different baits, some moving baits to locate some fish, and I did locate a couple of fish with the wacky worm and the underspin, the bladed underspin swim bait, and that was, it caught some fish. And then the bite died off, and I had trouble finding them. Well, then I found an area that I got a little bit bigger of a bite, and I got another bigger bite. So okay, well, I'm gonna try something new. Try something different, something that I haven't really fished, that I don't fish that often. And that's where I picked up the big swim bait. And guys, once I did that, they hammered the snot out of this bait. Like it's crazy, like how hard they hit this bait. And I know big swim baits catch fish. I've always known it. I just haven't thrown it as much. But when I threw this, and that first bite I had, that strike was maybe just go, wow, okay. It's like, oh, there's a bite, because sometimes it's like a tick and then there's pressure. But this one, it's like they hit it with authority, as if, they wanted to make sure that this thing wasn't going to get away. They didn't just bite it. I mean, they had this thing almost down the gullet. I believe the tail was, down the throat already. Holy crap, they're really digging this. Ever since that day, I always have this bait tied on and on the deck ready to go. I will have a couple other baits too, like a couple of glide baits, or a glide bait, and then a larger wake bait too, which I'm going to be throwing some of those here this early spring too. And I'm going to try and get out in a couple weeks. There's a lake that's opened up, so we'll see. But I'm not going to hold my breath. We'll see what happens. But for today's video, we're going to talk about this bait here. Now, everybody's going to have their own preferences of the number one bait they're going to always have tied on. Honestly, for me, I won't ever fish in the spring without this bait tied on and on the deck. I will always throw it. And unless I'm going for smallmouth bass, then I'll have maybe something similar, but just a smaller, just a smaller size. I'll probably go down to 5-inch instead of 7-inch. And I'm actually really excited to get their 8-inch when it comes out, if it's not already out. I don't have the 8-inch, but I know it's coming if it's not out already. And I'm going to get the 8-inch swim bait, dangerous swim bait, and toss that around too. This is the unloaded. I have the loaded one as well, and both are very good. I do like the unloaded when I'm fishing around weeds, because obviously its hook point isn't sticking out, right? So it's weedless, in a sense. And I mean, I love rolling this through the weeds, and I get a lot of good strikes. So this is a bait that I think that should be in everybody's arsenal in the springtime. If you have the capabilities, I think you definitely need to have this on the deck ready to go. It gets big bites, not just big bites either. I've got some good bites that were 2-pounders. So you will still get some other bites on it as well. You won't get as many because it is a bigger bait, but you are typically going to be getting the bigger bites. And that one video I made, it proved it. I showed it. I had a hard day. I think that was even a day where I had Livescope and I killed my batteries, And I wasn't even using Livescope to catch them. I was just doing the search bait thing with the searching with the bait, just casting around, and found some, and then threw this guy out there and just started thrashing them. And then I threw a couple other baits too. You know, when you find a pot of fish like that in the spring, broaden your horizons a little bit. Don't just throw the same thing and catch all 100 of them. Try some different baits, learn some new baits, get the feel for something that you don't have the confidence in. That's what I did with this. I didn't have a lot of confidence with the bigger swim baits because I never threw them enough. Well, now I throw them all the time. So I mean, it's something that I will always have on the deck, and you know, I think you guys should too. Now, when I'm throwing this, I have it set up so. Talk about the bait here. I'm gonna try and see if I can get this off of here. There we go. There we go. All right. So what I got going on here, it's just a belly weighted. It's a owner beast hook. I think it's I can't remember the size. It's either a 10 or a 12-aught hook, but I think it's actually might be a 12-aught hook. And what I did is, you know, they don't make the weight smaller, so I trimmed it down. You see, I trimmed down the weight. It's just lead. Trimmed off some of that lead to make it somewhere around like a 3/8 inch or 3/8 ounce weight, and that helps me throw it in shallower areas, because that's typically where I'm throwing this bait is more in shallower water. And obviously in the springtime, that's what they're doing, right? They're moving up into the shallower water. Sometimes not all the way up. Sometimes they're still staging to come up. Depends on the time of the year and water temperature and all that stuff too. So, I mean, you can play around with it, but then that's where the heavier weight comes into play. You can just rig it and throw it out a little bit deeper and just get it down and then slow roll it. I love slow rolling this bait. They thrash this bait when it's slow rolling a lot of the times, and that's how I fish it almost all the time. You know, you can speed it up and you can burn it, and it'll still have really good action. That's what I really like about this bait. And sometimes, you know, if they do slow down on you know, your slow rolling, just speed it up and play with it, play with your retrieve, and you know, see what they really do want. But I am throwing this on that owner beast hook. The line is I got 20-pound test fluorocarbon line, and it's not like a leader. It's I've got it rigged straight through. I got full spool, and just because I don't like to have a knot going in and out of my guides, I don't like that. I've had the knots hang up on some of the guides. Sometimes the guides are, you gotta use you know, the bigger line makes a bigger knot, right? So sometimes it hangs up on the guides, and I don't like that. Plus, I've had really good success with this line and this bait. And then the next thing you're gonna want is, well, you know, you can do a 7-foot long rod, but I have the Kistler Big Country rod here. It's a 710 extra fast, and this rod is gonna, you know, do some damage for sure. I haven't quite used this one yet, but it's very similar to what I've always thrown with these baits, so I know it's just gonna do just phenomenal. And then the reel, it's just like a heavy duty reel. This is the Quantum HD 7.3 to 1. So I mean, with a bigger bait, you probably could speed, you know, get a faster reel speed if you want to, like maybe like a 8.3 to 1, you know, burn it. But I don't really burn it, so it's not a big deal for me. A 7.3 is perfect. And then the this is a 200 size reel, so it means it's got a bigger spool. I can put more line on there than obviously the 100 size, and it's got a stronger drag. With you're fighting big fish, you got big line, big, you know, big bait, big hook. Everything's bigger. You want more drag, and you want stronger drag, and so that's what you want to. Now I know some guys are thinking, well, this is probably a little bit underpowered. Yeah, probably, but it's been working great for me. I haven't had any issues with it, none at all. I even throw some of the other bigger baits on some of the 100 size reels from Quantum, and I don't have an issue with it. Yeah, sometimes the drag slides a little bit, but to be honest with you, on those ones, I'm throwing treble hooks anyways. I'm not trying to set the hook on those and bend out those treble hooks. So, I mean, that's okay. That's typically my glide base I'm throwing those on anyways. So that's pretty much it for this setup, guys. This is, so, you know, I know this, like I said before, there's a lot of preferences out there for the bait that you're gonna want, that's gonna be your go-to bait for the spring, or a bait that you're never gonna be without. This should be one of them. You know, if you're comfortable with it, if you're used to it, I feel like this is the bait that a guy should always have on his deck, ready to go and ready to fish, because this is the time of year where you're gonna be fishing for some big fish. And when they say big baits catch big fish, it is true. Yeah, I know sometimes, you know, you can catch a big fish on a wacky worm, and we're gonna get to that bait, you know, in another video. But this, I don't know, man. You don't have to buy the dangerous swim bait. You know, there's so many other soft plastic swim baits out there too. So I'm not trying to make this brand specific, okay? Just, you know, find the one that you guys are most comfortable with, and, you know, put that on there and throw it out there. And even if you're not used to throwing a swim bait, give it a shot. Try the larger size. To be honest, I bought a 7-inch and a 6-inch when these first came out, because I wanted to try them out. I was like, well, maybe I should try the 6-inch. You know, start small and go. Then I thought, you know what? No, I'm gonna start with the larger one. And if I don't get any bites, then I'll step down. Well, what happened was I started getting a lot of bites, and big bites. And not just that, you know, like I said, sometimes you'll get 2-pound, you know, bites from 2-pound bass as well. And this bait catches them all. I've caught walleye on this bait as well. So it's actually it's a super versatile bait that you can catch, you know, a bunch of different species on it. So I mean, this has become one of my favorite baits, other than the jig. One of my favorite baits to throw. It's between this, the jig, and the bladed jig. I've had a lot of success with those 3 lures, and you know, the jerk bait's pretty high up there too. I haven't thrown it a lot last year, but it is up there as well. But guys, this is the bait that I feel like should be on your deck when you're out there spring fishing this spring. And if you don't got one, you know, give it a shot. You know, if you don't got to break the bank, like, you don't got to go out and buy, you know, a ton of really, you know, expensive, a bunch of really expensive gear to do it. You know, just make sure you got the strong line, got the good hook, you got the bait, and, you know, just go out there, try to find a kind of like a heavier, or I'm sorry, not heavy. You're gonna want a heavy action rod or heavy power rod. If not, you know, a medium heavy might work out okay. But when you do want a heavy power rod, so when you're setting the hook, you know, I mean, this is a big hook. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's almost like a gaff. So you're gonna want something with power behind it to get that to, you know, push this bait down and then get that hook point into that fish's mouth, you know, to get a good hook set. But you don't have to have a 7'10" or 8-foot rod, 9-foot rod for this. You know, you don't have to have it. You can make it work with a 7-foot rod. So, and there's plenty of options out there that are budget friendly. So you don't have to break the bank for it, but this is the bait that I'm always gonna have on my deck, that I'm gonna be out there throwing, and you're gonna see it, you know, on my deck this spring. It's actually on my deck all year round, unless I'm fishing for smallmouth. Then I'll bump things down a little bit, but I'm gonna be throwing this a lot. Well, I have been already. All right, guys, that's it. I'm gonna end this one here, but I just want to jump on and, you know, and share with you my thoughts on the one bait you guys should not be without this spring, and the one bait that catches me a lot of big fish in the spring as well. It's a newer bait for me over the past, you know, 3-4 years. Newer, you know, style bait, the big swim baits. So, but it's got a lot of good fish. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching, and if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next video.